Welcome to Mentoring to Support Accessibility. In this module, we will talk about working with mentees who face barriers, visible or invisible, and how to reframe challenges through a strengths based lens. My name is Christin Monroe, and I have experience both mentoring and teaching students with disabilities. In this first video, we will explore what is a disability. We recognize that many of you have your own accessibility needs. So this module is primarily focused on how to make your own mentoring of students more accessible. You may be able to apply many of these concepts to your own work and self advocacy. There are also many resources in the deeper dive section that point to resources that may help you advocate for your own accessibility needs. By the end of this training, participants will be able to recognize how disability and executive function differences can create barriers in undergraduate research mentoring, including those that are invisible or situational, and also apply strengths-based universal design informed mentoring strategies to reduce barriers and support diverse learners while maintaining rigor and expectations. In addition, participants will also respond effectively to real mentoring scenarios by identifying reasonable accommodations and inclusive support practices that preserve safety, essential learning objectives, and student agency. In this first video, you will learn how to understand what a disability is and recognize the importance of language, self-advocacy, and accommodations in mentoring. Whether permanent or temporary, we will all experience a disability at some point in time in our lives. According to the American Disability Act, a disability is a physical or mental impairment that substantially limits one or more major activities. If a condition or state of mind limits the ability to work, study, be healthy, or enjoy life, that can be considered a disability. This graphic shows a bell curve representing the wide range of human abilities, with most people clustered in the middle and fewer people at the extremes. The two vertical lines create a window that represents the range of abilities that a typical environment is designed to support. People within this range can participate easily, while those outside of it may encounter barriers. The key message is that inclusion depends on design. When environments are narrow and inflexible, more people are excluded. When we expand that range through accessible and inclusive design, more people can fully participate, highlighting that disability often results from a mismatch between individuals and their environment, not just from the individual themselves. Disabilities can be physical or mental and can be visible or invisible. Disabilities can also be permanent, temporary, or situational. 70 to 80% of disabilities are invisible, and no two disabled people experience a disability in the same way. They can range in how much support is needed, even for the same condition. So we can't assume how much support an individual needs. You might even see a difference in how much support is needed day to day. This experience of a disability will be unique from person to person. This sounds overwhelming and may make us wonder how we might do right. But we love and work with people with disabilities every day, and maybe even have a disability ourselves. For example, this graphic shows that disabilities may include mobility disabilities, deafness or hearing loss, blindness or low vision, cerebral palsy, cancer, diabetes, post-traumatic stress disorder, HIV, autism, epilepsy, intellectual disabilities, major depressive disorder, or traumatic brain injury. Some of these may be visible, but many are not. Take a minute to respond to the prompt that will pop up when you mentored or supported a student or colleague who faced a barrier at school or work. You may also think of an example of a time when you were being mentored and faced barriers in school or work. Then write out a question you may have had about this experience. It's okay if you've never knew the exact diagnosis. We often only see the barrier, not the underlying cause, and we don't need to know in order to offer help. Language matters. Some people prefer person first language, a person with a disability, while others use identity first, a disabled person. One size doesn't fit all. When in doubt, ask the individual their preference. Also remember, needs and identities may shift depending on the environment and health over time. Allow your mentee the opportunity to advocate for themselves and explicitly offer recommendations. Advocate for accommodations for yourself if you need them. Remember and remind your mentee that accommodations aren't a moral failing or laziness. You are reducing or eliminating disability-related barriers to accomplish your goal. Disability is an intrinsic part of the human experience. From a social model of disability perspective, disability is not something to fix. It emerges from the interaction between individuals and their environment. When environments are not accessible, some people with disabilities, often autistic individuals or those with ADHD, may engage in masking, a survival strategy of hiding or compensating for natural traits that meet neurotypical expectations. Masking increases cognitive load, making it harder to focus, learn, and perform. By designing more accessible and inclusive environments, we can reduce the need for masking and better support all learners. For example, this graphic shows a masker may look for approval, tend to be a follower, be quiet, follow guidelines and expectations, be kind and supportive. A masker may actually have anxiety, trouble sleeping, difficulty learning, sensory overstimulation, detachment, or emotional avoidance. Let's try an activity to simulate processing barriers and understand accommodation. Here are math problems written in Roman numerals. For some of you, this will be straightforward. For others, you'll need extra steps to decode them. Question 1. If you add LVII plus XLII, what does that equal? Question 2. CIV minus LXI. Question 3. CCC plus CD plus CF. Question 4. LXXV plus XXXIX minus LII. Question 5. CXI minus XXXIV minus LXXV. Pick one problem and try to solve it silently. Now let's discuss. What steps did you take? Did you need to translate before solving? Did it take longer than you expected? It's impossible to fully experience what it's like to have a disability, but this can mirror what it's like for someone with a processing difference like dyslexia. Not a lack of skill, but an added step that takes time and energy that someone without this barrier might not have thought about. An accommodation for these math problems could be a translation of the numeric, offering a table that gives the equivalent in our numerical system, or removing adjusting any time constraints that may appear for this type of work. If you were curious, the answer to question 1 is 57 plus 42 equals 99. Question 2 is 104 minus 69 equals 35. Question 3 is 300 plus 400 plus 900 equals 1600. Question 4 is 75 plus 39 minus 52 is 62. And question 5 is 111 minus 34 minus 76 equals 1. While disabilities create barriers for individuals with them, the barriers and disabilities urge them to navigate the world differently, which can build unique strengths in traditional educational and workplace systems that were built without them in mind. Individuals with disabilities often approach problems creatively and think differently than other non disabled persons. These are valuable traits in staff. Individuals with disabilities also tend to struggle in educational systems that weren't designed for the average student. Accommodations help remove barriers so their strengths can shine, whether those strengths stem from individual traits or from learning to work with their disability. This can lead to successes that may extend workforce problem solving. A mentor tip: accommodations aren't about lowering standards, they're about changing how the work is done so the goals are met. In this video, you learned how to understand what a disability is and about different types of disabilities, as well as the importance of language, self-advocacy, and accommodations. In the next video, you will learn about executive functioning.